I love you.
Oh my god!
Uh-oh. Well, Nora, our heroine, probably should have been blinded by looking directly at that flash.
Deathclaw meat sounds delicious.
Well, you gotta feed the dog.
If there were cryogenic technology that was effective today, then that's a much better way to store people and keep them safe.
The
the Apple
Retro
Watch, right?
Futures Apple Watch comes in at a lightweight 8 pounds.
Years of consumption led to shortages of...
Yeah, shortages are definitely something that can trigger issues in society.
It is now the year 2077.
Absolutely. Call me a pessimist, but were we going to make it to 2777 before the next war?
Your coffee, 173 points.
There's an interesting thing here where Codsworth, the British lighthouse keeper they turned into a robot, actually makes coffee at 173 degrees for the people, which honestly would burn their tongue. What I was going to say right here, for example, I was going to say that this is basically a game which is retro future. Basically, the atomic research ended up with some development of super 1950s technology. And I was going to mention a show called Hello Tomorrow on Apple TV, which if you like this, you'll love that.
It's a matter of utmost urgency, I assure you.
Then I'm glad I opened the door.
I wonder what she would have said, or what would have happened if she had said she wasn't glad.
In the unforeseen event of total atomic annihilation.
Is this foreshadowing?
I think so. Very soon. You wind up losing a lot of control if you have the government deciding where you're going to live and what you're going to eat. For me, it's not my cup of tea. Now, if I lived in a trailer and there was imminent nuclear destruction, sure, I would probably consider that option. But, you know, I live with a lot of supplies here. I live on the edge of the Everglades, so, you know, I'm staying here.
It's a common trope in preparedness fiction, movies, books, etc., to have the bunker and the selection process. You've got Greenland, Deep Impact. Oh, we have this lottery, or you've been selected. I don't know if the government is keeping track of that sort of thing, but you do lose a lot of autonomy. But they also wouldn't initiate that process unless there was a credible threat.
There are a lot of places, actually, that no longer have even a civil defense plan if something like this happens. I mean, many municipalities don't even have air raid sirens.
We need to get to the vault. Now!
I've got Sean. Let's go.
Nope, which we're hearing right now.
Stay safe, honey.
Gonna miss Codsworth.
To take the road less traveled is what I would say, because I think very early in an evacuation, law enforcement and the military are going to take control of the roads so that essential services can continue, and of course whatever military needs can continue as well. And so it's very likely that if you wait and take the main roads that you're not going to get to whatever your destination is.
In lesser disasters, not total nuclear war, it's a lot of pressure to decide whether or not to initiate an evacuation order. So if your government, local government says, hey, we're issuing this evacuation order, it's probably a good idea to listen.
I love you.
Oh my god!
Uh-oh. Well, Nora, our heroine, probably should have been blinded by looking directly at that flash.
This reminds me of the videos of testing nuclear weapons where they would have the troops in a foxhole or in a trench. A nuclear bomb would go off, the shockwave would pass, and then they would stand up and face it. And they're testing the impact of radiation on the troops.
Ouch. Oh, so it's a bunker after all. I was thinking a vault might have been something different, but essentially it's a bunker. But it's a sort of a strange bunker because I'm not seeing a lot of food storage, and I'm not seeing a lot of individual compartments, things like that. So
all of your basic needs are boiled down. Like, you're going to have to worry about air, food, water, all of that, and making sure it's clean. A lot of these bunkers would have access to a natural aquifer with an internal well, but anything you're using to power it, we're going to assume nuclear energy here. They've got to be able to maintain that. They have to produce food. If air is coming from outside, it would have to be filtered and undamaged if the vents get closed off. Same thing with any bunker. People sell commercial bunkers these days, and you close off the air and you completely seal it off.
Oh, we'll be going over all that in orientation.
There's something fishy here. I mean, these look like Borg regeneration units here.
I'm not going far. I'll just be over there.
No, it wouldn't look like this at all. There would be compartments that actually resemble rooms, like say dorm rooms, things like that. What you're looking at here, they're doing something with individuals here. They're putting individuals in this claustrophobic space here. Well, they're doing something with them.
The pod will decontaminate.
Yeah, it looks like maybe some sort of cryogenic. This would be the better way because you don't have to feed anybody. Or if there were cryogenic technology that was effective today, then that's a much better way to store people and keep them safe.
Except for the people themselves. If I was in that claustrophobic thing and started freezing, like going to white like that, well, I wouldn't be too happy. Well, we have a mutual assistance group, so we have more than just our immediate family that we have provided for, and they also have supplies and stuff. So we honestly would have a number of people with all sorts of different skills that can get together. I mean, as long as the roads weren't closed and we could get together.
My primary focus is to save my family and whatever that takes, but we also try to live in a way that we support and help other people.
The guy looks like a Star Trek villain. So that was a mutated cockroach there. That's about like the size of a bunny rabbit. But obviously things have gone wrong here because there's nobody else here. Oh, well, there's some bodies.
there's somebody else.
Something else.
Activate the skeleton.
Yes. Oh, you could activate a skeleton. I wonder what would happen.
I thought this was not a zombie game. Yeah, so you'd be wondering how much time had gone by.
Oh, look, there's their advanced version of the Apple Watch. What's going to happen? But obviously this is something that you use in the game probably. Hey, that's a Fallout guy. He's a famous icon.
It would be nice to have a device tell you your inventory.
And now we're going to go out and see what's happening on the surface.
At this point, I think I'd make the same decision. Vault would kind of be home base, but everything else is gone in your life. If you go up there and die, well.
One nuclear blast, would not necessarily destroy this huge an area, but the strategy is to send multiple warheads at once at its target so that, missile defense systems are overwhelmed and some of them get through. So a lot of our warheads and a lot of Russian warheads, for example, have 10 nuclear warheads per ICBM.
This is something that we love to have in the video games, is that Rad-X basically reduce the effect of radiation. And who knows, in this world, they may have developed that technology. But in reality, once the damage of radiation is done, it's done. Your cells are damaged.
Codsworth. Hello, Codsworth.
Codsworth?
I live and breathe.
It's really you.
He's seen some things.
Not eating properly for 200 years will do that, I'm afraid.
Looks like 200 years will do
Yeah,
that.
so it looks like 200 years from the nuclear blast to now, but we don't even know when the sun was taken. It could have been 100 years ago, 150, 1 year ago.
Hey, boy.
So an animal would require you to feed it if they're not catching their own food, but they can be great for companionship, for security, to help you out.
She's looting various armor and other items that might help her defend herself, and the dog is serving as sort of a pet, like a tamer in some video games. And there's the inventory you were talking about, Nat.
Yeah. Now we've got somebody who comes up from a vault after 200 years. For her, it's been minutes. And the world is in complete chaos. People are shooting at her immediately. There hasn't been any chance to talk to people. We just assume these are nameless, faceless, bad people that are all expendable. But in reality, that's some sort of civilization. Codsworth would probably give you some good answers.
That's right. You notice that she's able to knock people's heads off with those brass knuckles.
It's also impractical to start killing everybody, too. If this is the habit of everybody, I think there would be even fewer people left. You go into a city and still see this many people, wonder how they survive this long.
And why are they wearing head covers?
So we can dehumanize them.
Well, that makes sense. It's a lot easier to knock the head off somebody that you don't see their face.
Groups like to have some sort of a group identity. So we're going to assume, I suppose, in this situation that this group got together and that was their kind of decided uniform. It helps them identify each other, but also have that sense of identity.
EMP following nuclear detonation.
We haven't really, I think, gotten to the point where we're using nuclear fusion for a lot of things.
Yeah, if in this world they've developed a portable fusion core, which would be amazing, right? it would be one of the most sought after resources because it's a power source.
My armor's fusion core is burned out, so I guess my soldering days are done.
Guess so, you're nothing without your armor.
So if there's no fusion core, how is this suit going to work?
She just put one in there, so it could have been a fresh one. Charge a nuclear device, plug it into a nuclear power plant.
Now she's got a big bad weapon, and she's got a lot of armor.
This is what we call overkill.
You notice that they have the ammo, the amount of bullets you have left there, and they're going down pretty fast, and there's probably not a replacement for them.
So weapons maintenance is also important. You've got the barrels that are getting red hot, and you've got limited resources here, but even when firing conventional machine gun, you still have to worry about the barrel heating and sagging. It's going to affect the accuracy, and it will damage the weapon if you continue to fire it after it's been superheated, so you have to swap them out.
So this game gives you quests or missions that you have to do, and so you have to kill a certain number of these people, clear the area, and what? And now there's a monster. And this monster is called a Deathclaw, and some of the armor that was worn by these head-covered people was made out of hides of this thing. And bullets are going pretty fast here. Oh, finally.
Deathclaw meat sounds delicious.
Well, you gotta feed the dog.
It's like in fantasy stories when they use dragon scales for armor. Post-apocalyptic stories are science fiction, but they're also fantasy. I'm surprised at how many Molotov cocktails people have tucked around everywhere.
Well, they seem to have an awful lot for people that are wearing skin-tight leotards.
Like, where are you hiding that?
Right, exactly. But loot. Get whatever you can. And feed the dog, will you?
Yeah, pretty much once I had that armor, I would be in it as much as possible. People have already shot at her and tried to kill her.
Looks like some parts of it are no longer working from the icon I see on the left.
I like the Wild West theme, but also they got the revolutionary callbacks. The future, it's the retro future thing it's kind of like steampunk but fast forwarded. So I don't know, it's just kind of fun.
All right, that was a fun look at the retro future, and sure enough, I love this kind of imagination, and this is the kind of game that I really think that some people really would go for.
I loved looking at the Fallout games that are kind of a quintessential post-apocalyptic lore feature. I've already started my bottle cap collection.
Check out my website at doomandbloom.net, where you'll find articles, podcasts, and videos on medical preparedness.
Go to Instagram, The Preparedness Guy, also on all the other social medias. For more Gamology videos, find them on Facebook and YouTube.